just as good, actually. Okay, here's the testes, located in the scrotum. The scrotum is a two-chambered sac. Okay? So the right and left testes are separated from each other. The testes themselves are largely composed of seminiferous tubules. That's what you're really looking at on the slide when you look at a slide that says testes. Okay, seminiferous tubules, which are constantly undergoing meiosis towards the lumen to produce spermatids. The testes are a reproductive organ, but they're also an endocrine gland in that they produce testosterone. The spermatids can begin maturing immediately, but usually take a few days, and they can be stored in this structure here called the epididymis. The epididymis stores the spermatozoa and also as a site for their maturation. The maturation doesn't take anything special. It's just like cell divisions got started, like an ovum got fertilized and is going to begin to develop. Once it's fertilized, it'll become a zygote, and from there you'll get to the embryo. Here's the spermatic cord. And this spermatic cord at least shows, in 3D. It's separate. You need to know the components of the spermatic cord, but not necessarily define each of them. For instance, you know that there's a testicular artery and vein, or just an artery and vein. We don't have to define that. There's also a nerve. There's also a lymphatic. There's lymphatics throughout the body that are going to take up plasma that has been pressed out at any capillary site. There's also a muscle that extends upwards to the pubic bone, and it never is shown, never really shown well. They're showing it a little bit on the backside here. You're not going to get asked it, because I still don't think that's good enough. But it's the cremaster or cremaster muscle, and that elevates the testes if it's too cold for the maturation of the spermatids, and lowers them again by relaxing if it brings them too close to the body and it's too warm. There's also the ductus deferens. The ductus deferens, that's buried in here, but it comes out in the model. Ductus deferens will carry the spermatids up into the body itself.
Is that the vas deferens, or is it different?
Same thing.
Okay.
Vas deferens and ductus deferens are exactly the same thing. There's a hole in the body wall on each side called the inguinal canal. If you could pull this out of there, you'd leave the valley or depression. You got to imagine there's one on the top of it too. Okay, like stocks, the old-fashioned thing where you stick your head in, or like in the guillotine, stick your head in both parts. The models never tend to show that, but the inguinal canal here is the opening for most of the spermatic cord into the abdominal cavity. The part of the spermatic cord that doesn't enter inside is the cremaster muscle. It stays outside. Once inside, things separate and go their own way. Artery, vein, lymphatic, and the nerve go their own way. But the ductus deferens or vas deferens, I'm showing it here, curves along the lateral side on both sides, the lateral sides of the bladder. Okay. And this little structure here is a ureter coming to the bladder. It's nothing to do with the reproductive system. They're just trying to show it intact. This thing that looks like a severed or a cut peanut, okay, this is to represent the vaults and chambers that you can see inside of the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle. There's two seminal vesicles, one on each side. The only model that really shows that, look around quickly and see if you can find that stand-up straight urinary system model. You see it? It's has a bladder, 2 kidneys. No,
It stands up.
no one can see it? No, right here, thank you. Okay, this shows on the posterior side 2 seminal vesicles. Okay? And they are joining, the seminal vesicles are joining the ductus deferens right before everything enters into the next structure, which is the prostate gland. I'll put that guy back in there. Prostate gland is here on this model. If I turn it over, here's the bladder, here's the urethra, and here's the duct coming in after it's joined and joining inside of the prostate itself. Now I do need the other model, okay, the other male model.